Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Yeah, we're into the fourth quarter. It's a little late. I'm making this thing. A lot of stuff happened today, geopolitical. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not a military or geopolitical analyst. I'm an economist. I'm going to try to keep you focused on that. You know, I've said to you guys many times, I don't try to, put a reason on market fluctuations every day. You know, a lot of that is just noise. I mean, one day Powell could be talking, one day there's a headline, one day Iran launches missiles at Israel or vice versa. I try to stay in the big picture frame of mind, and I always encourage you guys to do the same thing. And I've been trying to lay out a long-term outlook for you guys all the way through 2025, where I think mostly I have the correct view, but I have said that we got to get through the elections. We have to see who gets elected and what economic policies are proposed and what economic policies are actually passed. But as it is right now, like, I'm staying focused. And I always, sometimes I send out emails and I say to my subscribers, like, during the day, it might be a crazy up and down or big move one way or another. I say, stay focused. Stay focused. I mean, it's really easy in this game to get caught up in the emotion. And then you think like every move, every zig or every zag has some really important meaning attached to it, when it was basically just emotion and people reacting emotionally, which I can understand. I mean, most people in this game, they're highly emotional. That tends to be human nature, and it plays out, in the marketplace. So I say stay focused. And, I've used in the past the analogy of the mariner on the open seas, and you got to have your GPS, or in the old days they use they aligned with the stars, a sextant or whatever they used, and you had to know where you were going or you're going to get lost. And it's the same thing here. Like, if you micro focus on these day-to-day fluctuations and try to ascribe meaning to every little zig and zag, you're losing out on the direction of where you're going. You're losing out on the big picture. So, I try to instill that. I try to, through repetition, and to remind people of that. It's really, really important. Today was another one of these days. But what I've been saying is that since the first rate cut back on September 18th, I remember, and leading up to this, I said this represents a significant change in monetary and fiscal conditions, at least the most significant since March 2022, and perhaps longer than that. We have other, developments that are going to come into the picture as we move through the remainder of the year, and especially into next year. But I put a little qualifier on that because I said we got to see who gets elected, and we got to see what the policies are. But the rate cuts alone are enough to say that the conditions have changed, and not only in the United States with the Fed, but we have the ECB, we have the Bank of China, we have the Bank of Canada, we have the Australian National Bank, we have the Bank of England, we have the RBNZ. With the exception of Japan, which I said I'm actually more bullish on Japan than I am anywhere else, because they're raising rates. For what reason, I don't understand, but they're raising rates, which is essentially in Japan a fiscal injection, as small as it might be. I mean, it's still going in the direction contrary to where all these other central banks are going. So I stay focused on the big picture. And for me, and by the way, today was the first of the month payments day. It was going to be a huge flow day. It was a huge flow day. We were down on the Iranian missile launch against Israel. But I still think that there's a potential for a bounce in here, but that is just within a very small context of the big picture. The big picture is that the rate cuts are going to reduce interest income transfers to the economy. Government net transfers are declining, okay, year over year. That decline is going to increase in 2025 unless there is some kind of a policy offset to that. So we know the landscape. You know, going back to the Mariner analogy, we know what we have, the charts in front of us, and I'm not talking about price charts. I'm talking about like if you're navigating out on the ocean, you know where the reefs are, you know the direction you need to head, you know where the storms are coming in, if they're going to be coming in at all, and you know where you need to go, and you know what conditions are going to be as you're traveling in that direction. So I try to stay focused at all times, and you know that is also a very, very helpful thing to combat emotion. Look, I'm human like everybody else. I happen to be a highly emotional guy, personally. That's my character. So it's something I've had to fight against for my whole entire career as a trader and an investor. I try to help people with this aspect, and it comes from, you know, myself, who's had a lot of personal experience with this. It's really, really important. I mean, when you have that big picture, that frame, it helps a lot. I'm not saying like it's infallible. You're going to get pushed and pulled by emotion at times. You're going to feel shitty. Sometimes you're going to feel elation when you should tamp that down. But you got to always kind of roll back into that macro picture, and that's where you belong. I mean, that's where you belong. And that's going to protect you. You know, a lot of times I talk about my boxing. You know, I'm into boxing. I'm basically a novice. I've been doing it for like a year. And, you know, the main punch in boxing is the jab, okay? And I have a tendency to let my hands down. And my coach always tells me, your hands live here. Your hands live here. Okay? You jab, you bring it back. You throw across, you bring it back. Uppercut, you bring... Your hands live here. They come back home. Same thing with, you know, what I'm talking about in terms of trading or investing. Like, you got to live in the macro picture. If you allow yourself to go outside of that picture and wander around, I mean, there's all kinds of temptations out there that are going to impact you and influence you. And believe me, they're not going to be good. I mean, take gold, for example. You know, in my old days, I would have been chasing after this rally. And I'm not even saying that it's wrong to do that. I'm saying that from a behavioral and, how can I phrase it? From the right behavior to work on to ensure long-term success in trading and investing, you have to resist chasing after things, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, FOMO. So many people are lured in like that. It's like in Greek mythology, the sirens who lured in, you know, I forget which character it was, somebody remind me, and then he ended up crashing on the rocks. Was it Ulysses? I don't remember, but somebody remind me. Anyway, that's what being in that, you know, your hands live here, okay? Your mind's got to live in the big picture, in that frame of the, you know, the macro perspective. Otherwise, you're going to go outside, you're going to be influenced, you're going to run after gold's up today, okay? You're going to say, oh my God, I got to get in. It's at 2,600, 2,650, 2,680, wherever it is. I'm basically, I don't even look at it recently because I know that producers have a very, very large short position. Banks have a very, very large short position. You got, like banks price their loans to like miners and stuff based on the price of gold. Why are they? Yeah, they're selling to protect their loans, but they also, there's an outlook in there. So I don't, nothing is going to entice me to chase after something. I've been around in this thing long enough, and I've always said this to you guys. I've been in this, activity long enough to know. And in my old days, I used to think, oh, damn, I missed the greatest opportunity ever. It's never going to happen again. I would kick myself. I would beat myself up. I would, just like do everything to crash down my confidence and my self-esteem, call myself an idiot, every name in the book. Something else always came along. I don't even remember those things. I mean, I do. I have stories about it. In my Forex course, I talk about a lot of those things. But I talk about those things from an educational perspective to show you, like, this is what I did at those times. And I sabotaged myself. If I would have just been calm, and removed from the whole thing. That's the other thing. You gotta like take yourself out of the picture. You gotta be like, a third person perspective. You gotta remove yourself from that. That's what I'm saying. The hands live here. The mind lives in the big picture, the frame. If you can do that, and all these things, like right now, if you're struggling with the gold situation because you're not in, use that as a lesson, as a training condition, as a training situation. It's fantastic. It really is. Like, feel that emotion you have. Like, geez, I'm such an idiot. I'm not in gold. Every headline I see is gold, 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 gold. Why aren't I in it? It's on TV, Peter Schiff, everybody's talking. Use that to your advantage. Make yourself strong with that. Say, look, it's okay. Let that happen. I'm not saying gold is, it's over forever, but you don't want to buy now. You wanted to buy when I told you back in March 2022, when it was, 1,600, and I think I did video after video back then about how you should get into gold back then. And we're going to come back and we're going to, my favorite word, we're going to revisit this and see how I said now in October 2024, how it was not the right time to get in. But use this as a way to strengthen yourself, a way to build resilience, a way to, remove yourself emotionally from the situation. Very, very important. If you're chasing after things willy-nilly like everybody does, a headline comes out, some price hits a new high, oh, I gotta get in because it's a new high. If I'm not, I'm a schmuck, I'm an idiot. Then you are an idiot for doing that. Have self-control. And remember, the hands live here. The mind lives in the big picture. If you want to, have success long-term in this game, if you don't want to approach it as a gambler, which I highly recommend you don't approach it as a gambler, you approach it like a Warren Buffett style, like somebody who wants to accumulate wealth over the course of your life. The hands live here. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get 10,000 subscribers. I got a long way to go, okay? And at this rate of you guys subscribing, it's going to take me like another probably 2-3 years. But whatever you can do helps. Don't forget, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial to MMT Trader. See you tomorrow. Bye.